Welcome back to Retro Bytes. Well, today, another dirty, broken, old, retro PC, Dell Dimension 4600 with matching monitor to boot. Before I do any work on this PC, I want to be sure that it's going to boot and work. So, yeah, right now, it's not. Just, nothing on the screen, and some long beep codes, and just historically, for me, that's always been RAM. So I figured I'd see what we got in here. It's actually some good quality Samsung DDR RAM, so I'm thinking maybe it just needs to be reseated. So I reseated the RAM, and yeah, sure enough, boots right up for me. Well, now that we know it'll boot, I'll go ahead and just give this a real quick clean. Let's see what kind of cards we get with this machine. This looks like a GeForce 5200. I've seen a couple of cards like this on eBay. And now I know where they come from. Sound card here. Ooh, Sound Blaster. Sound Blaster Live, 24-bit. Hard drive, Seagate, 80 gigabytes. Nothing special there. I'll go ahead and get the rest of this cleaned up real quick. While I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and replace the thermal compound on the CPU, so it makes good contact with this really nice copper heatsink. So with the machine put back together, cleaned up, go ahead and boot it, and I get to loading PBR for Descriptor 4 done, whatever that means, and that's it. I get nothing else. So I decide to run some of the utilities that are built in, thinking, well, there must be something wrong, and let this run for, it seemed like a couple of hours. 2 hours? Maybe it was 3. But yeah, sure enough, everything's okay. Try this other utility for the drives. Everything's okay there too, but I'll tell you what, everything's not okay. Descriptor 4, huh? Well, I ended up figuring it out. It was the, I unplugged and replugged the IDE cable and it started to work, so I threw my Windows XP CD on a USB drive and booted it up to install Windows XP, and yeah, it looked like everything was working, but it would just crash. It would blue screen of death every time it got to starting up Windows. And you know, I spent a lot of time at this part. I could not figure out why Windows Setup kept crashing. I did eventually figure it out though. You can't boot Windows XP Setup off of a USB drive. That was a bad idea. It turned out that the CD-ROM actually had the original OEM XP Restore CD in it, so I used that to put a fresh, clean install of Windows XP on the machine. So Windows XP is installed. I need drivers. So I wanted to be a little daring, a little dangerous, so I went and downloaded the Ethernet driver off of Dell's website and installed it with the intention of then using Internet Explorer to again browse to Dell's website, except on this old PC, and see if I could finish the driver installation from there. So I'm pretty sure I didn't forget how to set up networking in Windows XP. I'm pretty sure it's just not working. Every time I get close, it just kind of hangs. So you might have guessed that I never got networking to work, so never did get connected to the internet. So failed experiment, that's okay. You can still transfer files over, drivers over with a USB drive, so I'll do that. Alright, so I've got the display drivers here off of Dell's website for this computer. And, getting them installed. Pretty routine stuff, actually, kind of boring. I wasn't going to show this other than that I kind of had to prove that I did actually install the drivers, because when the system went down for a reboot, well, all hell broke loose. Yeah, and I never recovered from this, so it would come up and then just black. Just black. Like nothing. I think at one point the monitor even turned off. That's okay, that's okay. You know, a reboot fixes everything, right? So, get it rebooted and go to test the graphics card with DirectX Diagnostics, and yep, goes full screen, goes black, I got nothing again. Monitor turns off, and blue screen of death. So I think to myself, all right, I'll just boot into safe mode and uninstall the drivers and try something else. And then I get to this, try to get to safe mode, and no response on the keyboard, and I lose my mind here. Like, yeah, it's rage quit time. I've had enough of this stupid thing. It's going to the garbage.